Yeah, hi, I'm Kathy, and I work at the Sustainable Development Solutions Network.
I'm Christopher, and I work for Sealed.
I'm Narayan, and I work at Independent Diplomat.
I really only knew that I wanted to study sustainable development, so I knew I wanted to get a better understanding of issues like climate change and poverty, etc. So I don't think as a freshman, I don't think I thought past graduation. But I would say really lean into what excites you. So I sort of fell into doing media communications in a formal internship with the Earth Institute with the communications team, and so they were very supportive, and so I got to participate in different projects with different members of the team, from blogging to social media to events, outreach, and I would just recommend just really lean into what excites you and do more of it.
I would say one thing I would say, especially on the pre-college route, is your undergraduate kind of experience shouldn't be a career prep, or rather you shouldn't think of it as career prep. That's how I think I went into it. I have to get these skills and had to make myself competitive. Undergraduate should be about, it sounds crazy, but it should be about learning. Like, you should enjoy the experience of learning and what it is that you're studying. And I think that's what my major taught me. Sustainable development is so kind of all-encompassing that you have to enjoy learning a whole lot about a whole lot of different fields. And if you, in that course, pick up a subject or an area that you really become infatuated with, then you seek out the experience, the conversations, call someone up, send an email, do an internship, whatever the case is, read a book, and then those are the ways that you kind of get the specifics to make yourself competitive, but in the job field, but enjoy the undergrad experience for the sake of learning, I think.
Yeah. So I guess to start, I wouldn't call it like a divergence from my original plan. I'd call it kind of like an evolution. It's been like a constant, like different things. As I kind of got more into it, I discovered and learned about different things that kind of pushed me in a different path. And so I would say I kind of just honed my interest, and I'm still honing my interest. I still don't know what I'm going to be doing, say, even next year, to be honest. So yeah, I grew up in like Silicon Valley suburbia, and it was a very, very different culture from like, what I'm in right now, where I'm like, thinking about policy and trying to get into political stuff and all that. I would say, like, in some ways, growing up in that environment pushed me out of that environment, and not. I just wanted to explore and do something different. And this specific issue, like climate change, is an issue. Like I said, I found it to be kind of like an intersection of so many different things. I found interesting, from science to politics to policy. So that's kind of how I got there, and engineering was kind of by design. I thought, well, it wouldn't hurt to get all these, and like he said, like undergrad was very much about just gaining skills and learning and just gaining some like good academic experience. And after that, I guess it's just a question of how you apply it. And right now, I'm still actually using some of my engineering education, believe it or not, even in my current job. So you can't really plan it, but the only thing you can do is just in the moment try to put yourself in a place where you're learning as much as possible. I think that's the best way to think about it.
So I would say, energy efficiency, or renewable energy, or the climate change is kind of the reason that all of the students are here today. All you guys chose to be here Saturday morning, and just kind of following that line of thought, like go to these events. I decided to apply. I didn't think I would get it, but I worked for the Clinton Global Initiative and energy efficiency and renewable energy, and that kind of put me in the position to later take advantage of an opportunity to be at a super awesome, fast-growing, kind of game-changing clean tech startup. And it was simply by putting myself in those spaces, just following what I already knew I liked. It kind of let itself happen. It unfolded for itself.
The way I got involved with the Marshall Islands in the first place was reading this article in the New York Times, and then starting to do research for a professor that was working with the Marshall Islands. And next thing I knew, I was interning for the Marshall Islands government at their UN mission. And these are the things that you can't predict, right? All of a sudden, like, weird confluence of events. An ambassador leaves, a couple of people go on maternity leave, and all of a sudden you're very empowered in a position that you're just not meant to be in. And in some ways, that's the best part of the whole journey and the process of kind of like rising to the challenge when it confronts you. So for me that kind of happened, and all of a sudden, like, there I am also like traveling with the Marshall Islands, like president and ministers, to this meeting and writing talking points, and I wasn't trained to do any of that. I didn't learn any of that in school, but the one thing that school taught me was to just be confident at all times and just kind of fake it until you kind of make it, really.
So, Kathy, too, you started in with the communication orientation, but you're doing more than that now in some ways, right? Or you're exposed to more than that?
I would say there's a pretty consistent media communications thread both in my professional work as well as my side projects. I'm really fascinated with this idea of really how people create content, share content, interact with content, and the exposure and to content on, whether it's news or films or conversations you have with your family, that's one of the first steps in moving people up this commitment curve of awareness, to empathy, and then to like maybe getting involved, et cetera, to convening. I'm still very much in the media communication sphere with but it's really driven by the belief that media is a really powerful tool to mainstream some of the ideas in sustainable development, and then there are specific ways how that influences like investments and policy and behavior change.